There we go. Sorry about that. We were a little bit late for some reason. We had to struggle a little bit with the technology. You got to love Mercury in retrograde, don't you? Okay, so we are looking at the Tarot Thursday for this month. Hey, Devana, good to see you. Let me put the chat up here so we can see what's going on. We are looking at Tarot Thursday for the next 4 weeks, and hopefully this is going to find you getting some information that you can use as you plan out your next few days ahead. And I want to, again, apologize for the craziness that we experienced. For some reason, they moved things around a little bit, and I got a little lost trying to find how to go live. So my bad, my fault. So sorry. They changed it just from the last time I did this. So it's really interesting how Mighty Networks has their fun with us. All right, so let's everybody get this sort of collective big breath in, deep breath out, and let's take a look at what the cards have in store for us for the month. As always, what I will be doing is pulling 4 cards. The first card representing the overall theme for the month. I'm going to go back into chat now in case anybody has any questions for me. The second card representing what is it that is not in our control to change? In other words, what are the things we have to learn to deal with as pertaining to this particular theme, this particular question? The third card I pull is always what is in our power to change? What's in our wheelhouse? Where can we make changes that will hopefully enhance our ability to deal with the theme at hand? And then finally, the last card is always what's our next best step? What should our next step be in order to be able to either make the very best of a difficult situation or even enhance more a positive situation? Make sense? All right. The deck that I'm using is the Golden Universal Tarot. It uses a lot of the basic imagery of the original Rider-Waite deck, but it has just a softer, gentler feel. And on top of that, it was a gift from one of my Tarot 65 students, and it has really become my go-to deck. Very grateful to her. Thank you, Chrissy, for having made that possible. All right. Our theme for this 4-week period. What's not in our power to change? What is in our power? And what should our next step be? As always, when I finish here, I'll take a quick snapshot of the 4 cards. And when Alana posts the video tomorrow, you'll be able to take a look and see what they were again. Okay? Interesting. So we have reversed. I'm going to hold it first. I will hold it. You know what? Let me turn this light off. Hopefully we won't get as much glare that way. There we go. This is upright. This is the 8 of Pentacles, and it represents mastery, doing the work. But in this case, this card was reversed. So when I see that as our overall theme, it suggests to me that we're in a new situation where new work needs to be done, where we need to take a look at the situation at hand and see where we might need to bolster a little bit of our knowledge, perhaps. Go back to our participant screen. Where we may need to bolster a bit of our knowledge by getting some training, getting some greater insight, talking to more people. Pentacles also always refer, or usually, I shouldn't say always, almost always, refers to the physical world. It can refer to money, it can refer to education, it can refer to our careers. Since it's reversed, can I possibly suggest that this little sucker just might be telling us that we need to take a new way of looking at resources. We need to take a new way of looking at what we think we know and maybe come at things from a new perspective. Thinking literally in the terms of resources, this speaks a lot to the current situation with a lot of people dealing with hunger. Maybe we need to think of a new way we personally can make a difference, whether that's going through our pantry and grabbing some canned goods, grabbing some non-perishables and dropping them off at a food shelter, along with a check, perhaps, if we're capable of doing that. Maybe it's a new way of looking at money or at things that we think we need to buy. Perhaps we need to learn how to sew and not immediately assume that we're in a disposable environment anymore, and that we might have to think about, how do we make things last? How do we repurpose things? There's another one, repurposing. Instead of throwing things out, what if we donated things to the local Goodwill or community aid so that someone could get a better use out of it? A friend of mine had posted online what to do with their wedding dress. You know, it was something that they have, since the marriage did not go well, they decided that, you know, they were going to let their wedding dress go. And she asked for some ideas. What could she do? And I suggested, why don't you donate it to a woman's shelter or to a consignment store, so that a young woman who maybe doesn't have the financial wherewithal could look pretty on her wedding day, which normally couldn't happen. So that's an interesting way to think about this card. We need to rethink how we look at resources, okay? What is not in our power to change? Aha. Judgment. Yeah. Judgment talks about getting our due, both positive and negative. It talks about the potential for us to think about consequences, but to also think about accolades that may have been waiting for. So when we're looking at resources and I see the judgment card, perhaps this could be, hang in there. That bonus that you've been hoping for at work should still come through, or may still come through. Or it could be, you may get a positive outcome or a positive response that doesn't look anything like you expected it to. It may instead look something like a big thank you from someone you didn't even realize you'd helped. Judgment is one of the major arcana, and it is always that last step before full and total integration. So if we're thinking about that 8 of Pentacles reversed as our theme card, the resources, rethinking resources card, then judgment may need to come from within ourselves to develop literally better judgment when it comes to how we utilize the resources that we have, how we rethink what we believe we need, and how we think whether or not what we have is of value. So it would be a good time to really sit down and rethink these things, because it's not in our power to change it. It's just not. Okay? What is in our power to change? Another major arcana card. In this case, it's the Chariot. We are looking here at moving forward. This is not the time. This card is telling us this is not the time to sit back and wait for somebody else to help. This is not the time to sit back and wait for somebody else to come up with the answers. We've got to do our part, each and every one of us, to assist in making sure that resources are available to those that are perhaps the least among us. That's not always easy to do. We might not always feel like we know exactly what we should step into next. But if we do nothing, no one is being helped, right? If we take a stab at it, okay, maybe it doesn't work out, but at least we'll know what not to do the next time. So definitely with that Chariot card in place, again, another major arcana card, it's very seriously saying the time to rest on our laurels is over. It's time to move ahead and keep going. All right. So final, what should be our next step? Interesting. Another major arcana card. Upright, it would be the devil. It still is the devil, whether it's upright or not. And this is always talking about materialism. And when it's reversed, we're looking at materialism or being in our own bodies in our own way. Where can we, it's really interesting how these 4 cards are all interrelating. When we look at the need to rethink resources and to rethink materialism, that gives us a really big clue as to what our next steps should be. I think, if I may say this without making anybody feel uncomfortable, all of us, if we are able to sit here and watch something on our computers or on our iPhone or whatever, we're probably better off than we really think we are. And it may very well be that what we need to do is to look to the community. How can what we have help a neighbor? How can we reinstitute barter even? How can you help me, I help you? Make that start being the way we talk with each other. Start being the way we interact with each other. Start being the way that we try to conquer the challenges that we're going to be facing in the months and year ahead. So that's where we're coming from at this particular one. That main theme again, thinking about resources in a new way, perhaps going within and really getting honest with ourselves about what resources mean to us. What is not in our power to change, probably judgments of others, but also the judgments of how we even look at what we have and what we don't. It could be what is not in our power to change is whether or not we get what we believe we have coming, even if it's negative. We may think we've got something negative coming, and that may be inaccurate, but that's not what's in our power. What is in our power to change is to make a stand and to keep moving forward. The chariot wants to plow ahead, to make change. It's also talking about balance. If you notice, we've got those two sphinxes, the white-bodied and the black-bodied. That's balance. We can only move forward effectively and not topple one way or the other if we are in harmony and in balance with ourselves. Finally, next best step, think about where we might be being overly materialistic, and let's go from there. So thank you so much for joining me here for Tarot Thursday. Oh, I see we have a question in place. This is the resources. I agree with you, Devonna. I think if we really sit down and think about it, all of us probably have more than we believe and can help more than we realized. And that's the first step into helping to make sure that everyone is able to get through these trying times in the months ahead. So many thanks to all of you. Please have a wonderful, safe Thanksgiving, and I hope to see you back here in the second week of December. Good night.